Okay, so anyway, let's watch this video. Why is this not working? Oh, here we go.
About Tom Cruise. He doesn't blink. Not at death. Not at pain. Not at God.
I like this
What
video.
won't let him
Do you ever get scared?
look away?
Yeah, I do. I just don't mind being scared. That's the difference.
What is the deal with you and Speed?
Does your stunt double think you're his stunt double?
This is already such a good video.
Tom Cruise has to be a psychopath for doing all of these crazy stunts.
You climbed Burj Khalifa. You held your breath for 6.5 minutes underwater. You hung off the side of an Airbus A400.
This is far and away the most dangerous thing we've ever attempted. The biggest stunt in cinema history.
Is he nuts? Does he have a death wish?
The wind distorts your vision.
There's no one doing it like you're doing it.
It's almost impossible to breathe.
They're genuinely risking their lives to entertain people.
That man is determined to die on camera for our entertainment.
They didn't want us doing it at first. I said, listen, I can do this.
You do this, is that a release? Is that what you're doing it for? Just to kind of let it all out? And...
I don't know. I've always wanted to fly. Skydive, I fly jets, I fly airplanes, aerobatics, helicopters, parachutes, all that. And I train for everything.
Train and drill every little aspect over and over and over and over again. Don't be careful, be confident.
I've always trained my whole life, but I train. You never have a moment off.
Are you a bit addicted to the adrenaline of it all?
Do you like a little bit of danger?
Yeah, sure.
What goes through your minds when you're doing that?
Don't die. For me, it's about storytelling. That's why I started producing Mission Impossibles.
And you really think we can do this?
It's not like you don't feel that fear. We're going to do it. It's just it doesn't stop me from doing it.
This is Ethan Hunt. They're dead.
Tom Cruise jumps out of a plane and he doesn't bat an eye, he doesn't blink.
Beautiful, man.
But was Tom always this way?
What was your first race like?
I was scared to death.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure, you know. I was scared to death. Yeah. I'm so nervous here. 1 second.
Sometimes.
And here's the thing about Tom Cruise, okay? He is not just arguably the greatest action movie star. And I think also, let me look up the stats here. He is he the most profitable Tom Cruise? He is the most consecutive $100 million grossing movies. I think, yes. He has starred in 34 domestic $100 million grossing films, which is about 80% of his releases. It is insane. So he is an incredibly bankable, extremely profitable movie star. But the other thing too is that he's just a great fucking actor, because you have other action movie stars, but they can't do the shit that Tom Cruise does. Can you imagine The Rock doing a film like Eyes Wide Shut? You know what I mean? So like a lot of these other action stars, these big action stars, they don't have the range that a Tom Cruise has. You look at his career, okay, Magnolia, Jerry Maguire, Interview with a Vampire, Born on the 4th of July. Risky Business, The Outsiders, and then Top Gun, Mission Impossible. So imagine The Rock doing Vanilla Sky, or even like, I'm trying to think of, like a Ryan Reynolds or a Chris Pratt. You know, these other really big bankable action stars, just no one is Tom Cruise. No one is Tom Cruise. Can you imagine Kubrick approaching The Rock? I know if Kubrick was still alive, ain't no way. Approaching The Rock for a movie role in a film like Eyes Wide Shut. And some of you are throwing out names, but remember, you have to be at the level of action star that Tom Cruise is at. So there are definitely actors in the middle who have done action movies and then have done like quiet dramas, and they are great. I'm talking about those who are like the like top of the call sheet when casting the top of the casting sheet when casting a big action film. It's Socialism of Barbers, and thank you for the 5.
Your brand can feel nervous, lost, unsure of itself. But a clean, bold URL, now that's confident.
There's also, you know, Tom Cruise famously doing his own stunts, stuff like that.
So when it comes to selling merch,
which just, I mean, it just sets him ahead above a lot of his peers in just his absolute dedication, and also insanely so, to his craft. You know, he doesn't do an action film for the bag. Okay, he's not like a guy who he'll do these mid budget dramas and then we'll go do a big action film to make a bag. It's like, no, he is a cinema guy. He is.
Tom grew up a nomad.
14 different schools, 15 different schools.
Attending 15 schools in 14 years.
And growing up, I moved around a lot, and I really don't have a lot.
I like Keanu, but I love Keanu Reeves, and I think he's very good at what he does best, okay? But Keanu Reeves is not Tom Cruise.
A lot of friends. Oh, I was rejected a lot, growing up. Always being the new kid. It was a lot of adapting to different situations.
Let's be real.
A lot of frustration.
Thomas Cruise Mapother IV grew up in near poverty,
Thomas Cruise
constantly
Mapother.
on the move due to his father's restless search for work. Cruise described his father as a merchant of chaos who regularly beat him.
How did you deal with it?
Sure, it's painful, always.
There was a point in your life when you almost entered the priesthood.
I think I needed, when I went there, it was like a very secure environment, with boarding school. And I think I just needed that. Through everything, through such the hard times, our family kind of made things easier to keep things positive.
You've lived in a household basically with women, for the most part. You were the man of the house, and therefore, in the traditional sense, though we have come a long way, you still are the father figure to all those women, are you?
I guess I felt that way. Yes, I did.
He and his 3 sisters grew up poor. But one of his biggest struggles, dyslexia.
I had what absolutely they defined as learning disabilities, dyslexia.
I was not a great athlete, compounded with, dyslexia, constant rejection.
Do you know what's interesting? And it actually makes sense. There are a number of really famous actors who have dyslexia, and it's because when they are trying to work through having dyslexia, often it will lead them to something like acting, when they're looking at a script and trying to work on reading words, etc. So there's a lot of actors who are dyslexic, including Will Neff.
Constant rejection when I was growing up.
Tom's parents divorced in 1974. He'd been a victim of bullying at home and at school his whole childhood. But still, he wasn't scared.
As a dyslexic, why do they make the word so hard to spell? Same with why do they put an S in lisp?
Your mother sounds like a terrific.
Yeah, she is.
And you're crazy about your mother.
Yeah, I love my mother. She used to take me in front of the mirror. And say, look at yourself.
Even as a little kid, I did stunts. I was the kind of kid that would climb up to the tallest tree when the wind was blowing.
Right. Oh, okay.
You know, and she'd come out and find, honey, now how'd you get up? Why didn't you show me how you got up there?
She's looking there, and she's saying, how do you feel about that guy? What are you gonna do? When you're growing up, you got to be able to look in that mirror and feel good about that guy that you're staring at,
But she never made me afraid to do things. She never told me that life was terrifying.
Well, I feel you've got a choice in life. You can turn negatives into positives and make things happen for you on any level. I think that's the important thing that I realized in growing up, with dyslexia, with the moving around, that it was an adventure for me.
This boy from a broken home set himself a deadline to achieve success, and he didn't have to wait too long.
When you decided not to go to college to pursue acting straight out of high school, how did you know you were going to make it?
I didn't.
It's insane that the original Top Gun and then Top Gun Maverick were both not only massive box office successes, but played a really important role in the industry, even though they're decades apart. Because remember, Top Gun Maverick grossing $1.5 billion in the in the spring summer of 2022 showed that people will still go to the movies and that cinema is still alive. That people still love the movies. This was after after we had entered into the pandemic, when it was a very worrisome time for the movie business and for movie theaters. And it was the streaming age, and everyone thought that this is it. Like, the movie theaters are going to die out. It's all just going to be streaming. And Tom Cruise was like, he was the guy who basically stood up for cinema and proved that people still want to go to the movie theaters. And I think it was Steven Spielberg who said, like, you saved Hollywood's ass, etc. So it's just wild that he starred in he starred in Top Gun in 1986, and then also Top Gun Maverick, and both were individual massive successes and have played a pivotal role in the movie business, in not just cinema history, but also like in the business
I'm in the
itself.
backseat of this F-14. I'm thinking, oh my God, it's so exciting. I mean, the power that you feel.
How important is to you is the film's success to
I just
you?
read a comment under this video that said Scientology has something called blinkless training routines where you practice staring at someone for hours without blinking. I'm sure that's true. Like, that's the part here that is the... It all comes back to the Scientology.
I mean, I never thought it would make the kind of money it's making now. I mean, each film that I've done, I've been very specific in the choices.
No one picked.
There's anyone in America right now who represents a human being, who represents movies in the 90s, it's Tom Cruise.
But somewhere around here, the boy gave way to the brand.
With all that newfound money and fame, Tom Cruise was going through a major transformation.
The man everyone describes as intense and driven seems more comfortable in his superstar skin these days.
He maintains just enough secrecy, to keep him intriguing. And that's very important in a superstar.
By 2005, the image was polished. The brand was locked. But between one high-profile marriage ending and another beginning, something cracked.
And that's when I discovered there's another side to Tom Cruise.
Coming up, the mood changes a bit. You're going to see a fiery Tom Cruise talk about his attack on Brooke Shields, antidepressants, and Ritalin for kids.
But when he's...
Oh my God, I totally forgot about his fighting with Matt Lauer, fuck Matt Lauer, right? but his fighting with Matt Lauer because they got into it over psychiatry. And Tom Cruise was like, psychiatry is bullshit. He's like, psychiatry is fake science.
Angry, the cool man of Hollywood can become downright icy.
And as of 1 year ago, divorced from his second wife, Nicole Kidman.
Tom Cruise, it's been a pretty busy couple of weeks for the movie
Which,
star.
again, you guys, this all comes from Scientology, okay? All of this, Scientology.
The latest breakup was international news for weeks on end.
His relationship with Katie Holmes spawning 1,000 tabloid headlines.
What has happened to you?
I know that psychiatry is a pseudoscience.
But the difference is, this was not against her will, though.
Madam,
This wasn't against Brooke's will.
Madam, asking a question.
Something happened to you. Something happened to you.
Tom Cruise loses control on Oprah.
What happens, the antidepressant, all it does is mask the problem. There's ways of vitamins and through exercise and various things. I'm not saying
I've
that
never
that is-
seen you behave this way before.
I know.
Have you ever felt this way?
But a little bit what you're saying, Tom, is you say you want people to do well, but you want them to do well by taking the road that you approve of, as opposed to a road that may work for them.
No. I'm not going to pretend.
I can see you're not. You don't go 17 magazine. Yes!
He did the thing. He did the thing.
You're glib. You don't even know what Ritalin is. You never know what I'm going to do, Katie. That's the point. When you don't know, and I do.
I feel so scared of Tom Cruise, guys. He's crazy. You saw him jumping out of Oprah's couch. Man's not right. Man's not right.
What celebrity are you most scared of?
Tom Cruise.
I'd be a little scared of Tom Cruise. he's a little manic for me.
Here's the thing, Peter. You're stepping over a line now. You're stepping over a line. You know
I'll
you are.
have what he's having.
Now, why would you do that? Why would you do that? I'm just telling you right now, okay? Just put your manners back in. Why would you do that?
Tom Cruise is so friendly and outgoing and always has a smile on his face, but there's nothing behind his eyes.
Certain things I'm going to keep for myself. Wait a second. What's so funny about that? It's ridiculous. That's really... Hey, no. Don't run away. Don't run away.
Am I the only one that sees, like, serial killer in Tom Cruise's eyes?
You're a jerk. You're a jerk.
For a while, it seemed like it was Tom Cruise against the world. He challenged Matt Lauer on prescription drug use, lost a studio deal, and
Stop it, Jay. TBH, I acted just like this when I was off meds and off therapy and pretending
took
to
over
be
another
fine.
studio and jumped over Oprah's couch.
How are you handling this? I mean, every magazine, every newspaper, every entertainment show. What's it like for you to be living through this right now?
I'm just living my life. And I'm doing the best that I can and doing it in a way that I feel is right.
Tom Cruise didn't.
Okay, so let me talk about this. As I said, I really believe that if something like this were to happen today, it would not have had the cultural impact that it had back then. Because Tom Cruise, you know, he'd been around for decades. He was one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. And this was the first time that kind of the public started to go, oh, he's a weirdo, the Scientology thing. I can't explain enough. If you were not like aware of this era in the early 2000s, you do not know how big this couch jumping moment was. Everyone was talking about it. It was not like a 24-hour thing where if it were to happen today, maybe it's in the news cycle for a moment, but also no, you have Kanye West doing fucking like Heil Hitler songs and then going, yeah, I'm not doing anti-Semitism anymore. Like, it's just something you put on and then take off. Like, you know, you have so many content creators doing crazy shit. People are doing so much in this attention economy to get people's attention. So I really don't think that a couch jumping moment in today's time would have had the reaction for as long as it was back then. The spread of celebrity news still in its infancy. Yes, this was like all of the trades and then mainstream media nonstop covering this. There were so many references in pop culture. We weren't distracted back then with the internet when shit happened. We were so locked in. Yes. We were so locked in, and people, and so like this was like not necessarily the beginning, but I would say the kind of momentum of people turning against Tom Cruise, I would say, or being like, what a weirdo. The couch jumping moment was like a cherry on top of it, where everyone went, see, I was thinking that something was wrong with this guy, and look at him now. Our culture is too decentralized, and there's far more extreme things nowadays. Yes, you know, we have the 24/7 news cycle. It's very decentralized. The internet, there's just so much going on. And there are people who are like, there are a lot of people who are dedicated to trying to claw the public's attention. So they'll do anything. That was exactly 20 years ago, a few days ago. Yeah, it's crazy to think that was 2 decades ago. Being weird isn't enough on social media anymore. Yes. Isn't that crazy to think? If you watch television, social media wasn't really a thing. People weren't able to really isolate themselves into their specific niche. If you watch television, everyone saw the same things. So whereas now, when you can have 20 people in a room who follow 20 different influencers, back then we had only celeb news on TV. Yes. So this was the era too where like we were poring over People magazine. We were poring over Us Weekly. It was like obsessing over what celebrities were doing because we didn't really have the internet, and we didn't have the, like the mystique, the mystery of celebrities is one thing that has gone away in the age of the internet, because everyone's on social media, right? They have removed the veil. So that's another reason why we just don't, like, a moment like this just kind of would totally fly by. I looked up the context of the "you're a jerk" moment because I forgot the reporter squirted him with a water gun. Yeah, and that was the other thing too, though, is that the reporter squirted him with a water gun, and that's why Tom Cruise said "you're a jerk." And nowadays, if that were to happen, people would be like, based, super based, right? Like that would be a tweet where someone tweets it and is like, reporter squirts Tom Cruise with a water gun, and he says "you're a jerk," and everyone would be like, oh my God, let's go, King. But when it happened back then, it was part of the Tom Cruise is crazy.
Didn't blink. Because
Tom Cruise ran so Chapel could walk.
Tom, doing what's right has never been up for debate.
Tom, let me try to understand. The Church of...
The couch jumping event was kind of hype for me as a child because my mom got mad at me for jumping on the couch. She's like, who do you think you are, Tom Cruise? No, but straight up, though, like, I remember as kids, we were all jumping on the couch pretending to be Tom Cruise.
Scientology. Is it a religion?
Yeah, I mean, by definition, it is a religion.
Does it bother you that it is considered so controversial, that it is considered a cult, that it has been investigated?
Tonight on Nightline, Scientology under attack. A wave of websites, videos, and protests turns a critical eye on the celebrity-studded church.
Scientologists believe we are spiritual beings in control of our own destiny, and that therapies like psychiatry wrongly label individuals.
But it comes in the face of a mounting wave of criticism in online videos and in protests across the country.
I actually got into Scientology for a while. That's how I got this nice glazed look in my eye.
But off-screen, Cruise has devoted much of his power, influence and substantial wealth to the Church of Scientology.
It doesn't matter to me. Whatever anybody thinks or what they don't know, I know what I know.
It is the time now. Now is the time. It is being a Scientologist, people are turning to you, so you better know it.
Many people have felt unhappy about Scientology for a long time.
They take words and make it all sound so clever.
A Scientologist can be defined.
You know, the other thing, too, is back then, Scientology was like the dominating cult. And it's not that people still don't make jokes about Scientology or roll their eyes or et cetera, but I feel like there are just, because of the internet, there's just so many cults and scams, etc., that people, it's like Scientology doesn't have the stranglehold on the culture like it used to.
Dedicated to that.
All right, that's fine. I have to go.
This is reinforced by the training routines, where under pressure, you're taught to maintain presence and eye contact. But whether or not what Scientology offers is truth, the driving force inside Cruise is very real.
But underneath, Tom's far more complicated, driven by a deep-rooted desire to live his life according to a strong moral code.
A hero complex.
Responsibility, loyalty, heroic courage. And I am proof of what study technology can accomplish.
These things are, you know...
They mean a lot to you, don't they?
Yeah, they do. As a man, they mean a lot to me.
And because of that, nothing drives me more than my desire to help the world's youth to obtain what I didn't have so they can realize their dreams.
You witnessed a hit-and-run accident. You took the victim to the hospital, and when you found out that there was no insurance, you paid the medical bill.
You know, there's people out there that want help and that need help.
You came to the aid of a woman being mugged in London, and you chased away her attackers.
When you get past an accident, it's not like anyone else. I have to do something, don't I?
But every time something bad happened in the world, Ethan would think,
as you drive past, you know you have to do something about it. Because I can't live with myself if I don't.
I should have been there.
Also in London, you pulled two young boys from a crowd, preventing them from being crushed.
Kids need help. This world needs help. I have and will continue to dedicate my life to accomplishing this.
We can make it. I won't let you down.
Okay, can I just say Dakota Fanning in War of the Worlds, maybe top 10 worst children ever. I remember watching that and thinking, I never want to have a child. Just gonna say it. Fuck that kid. Fuck that kid. Should have let the aliens have her. That's all I'm gonna say. Should have let the aliens have her.
Your life.
The son was asked to. He was also annoying.
Will always matter more
Honestly,
to
both
me
the kids
than
suck.
my own.
You helped rescue 5 people from a burning boat.
Woman down.
Because you know you're the only one that can really help.
And sometimes Ethan is the only one capable of seeing the only way.
Because of what the study tech did for me, I started helping others.
This is not a film, this is real life.
You're okay, Cougar. Just stay on my wing. I try to help people any chance I get.
I want to know that I've done everything I could every day. And I think about those people out there who are depending on us. I think about that.
Tom Cruise isn't just a member of Scientology. He embodies it. In many ways, Cruise never needed God, because he already had a belief system himself.
He's in the building!
At 42, he's one of the most powerful people in Hollywood, in control of everything and everyone he encounters.
He can't age. He can't be weak. He can't deteriorate.
Fate whispers to the warrior.
A storm is coming.
It's been
very devastating so far.
Movie industry is already a vulnerable business thanks to streaming services.
Coronavirus is impacting the film industry.
Movie theaters are closed as well as...
No word yet on when theaters will open. The next Mission Impossible movie abandoned a 3-week shoot in Venice. Crews are not sure if and when the film will return.
And the warrior whispers back, I am the storm.
On the socially distanced set of MI7, a protocol breach put the production at risk.
You're back here in Hollywood making movies right now because of us! Because they believe in us and what we're doing!
And if the movie stopped, the machine stopped.
I'm on the phone with every studio at night. Insurance companies, producers. And they're looking at us and using us to make their movies. We are creating thousands of jobs,
And if the machine stopped...
This was one of the rare times that like audio leaks from a celebrity or some high profile figure yelling, but actually it's not to their detriment. Everyone heard that and went, hold on a second. Tom Cruise? Based? It was one of the few times that leaked audio actually had the person at the center of it coming out looking good. Wasn't giving Christian Bale's freak out over like lights on the set or some shit.
Who was Tom Cruise then?
That's what I sleep with every night. The future of the industry.
This wasn't ego. It was responsibility. It was love.
As soon as I started making money, that's all I spent my money on, movies today, because I love movies.
I love movies so much. It's like a dream.
And then last September came an event that would change us. An actor friend said to me, what are we doing? What are we doing? Is it important? Is it even important what I do? And what of a night like tonight? Should we celebrate the joy and magic that movies bring? Dare I say it? More than ever. And we have the unique opportunity to bring people to places to experience emotion that they might not otherwise have had the opportunity to do that. I really love what I do, and I hope I have the opportunity to continue doing it.
Maverick. 30-plus years of service. Combat medals. Citations. Only man to shoot down 3 enemy planes in the last 40 years. If you can't get a promotion, you won't retire. And despite your best efforts, you refuse to die.
Top Gun Maverick.
Also, just a little more context for anyone who's confused about the audio. So basically, he was yelling because the COVID safety protocols had been breached. And so he was furious because he's like, we have to ensure a safe working environment for everyone on set. And if the set gets shut down because there's a COVID outbreak, that's a lot of people's jobs on the line. Like there are a lot of people who have been out of work, who are relying on this job. And if the filming process is disrupted because people are not adhering to the safety protocols, then he was right. No, he was absolutely right. And he was very, very publicly committed to keeping production sets safe and making sure that the film industry could stay afloat at a time when it was really touch and go. I was like, is this the end? Is this the end of the industry? He was getting people work when no other films were shooting, yes, but was very, of course, adhering to adhering to making sure that they would keep sets safe.
The sequel, Movie Love is waited
It was a very
36 years
justified
for.
crash.
Is flying high above expectations.
The record-breaking opening weekend at the box office.
Over the $700 million mark.
$1 billion worldwide.
I'm going after him.
COVID delayed the Tom Cruise project by 2 years when the pandemic forced movie theaters to close and halted production.
You're grounded, Captain. The end is inevitable, Maverick. Your kind is headed for extinction.
Maybe so, sir. But not today.
Not today.
He also promised to people who said, would this be, released simultaneously to streaming? He said that will not happen.
Holy shit.
And you held it for 2 years.
You see me now?
You were, I guess, $1.5 billion right, huh?
Industry insiders say its soaring box office numbers signal that audiences are still willing to show up post-pandemic.
I wasn't looking to come and see anything other than this.
Everybody I know says you have to see it in the theater.
We made this for the big screen. Look, the film is made for the screen.
Actually,
Anyone
R.I.P.
can
Val
bring people
Kilmer.
back into movie theaters. Trust me, it's Tom Cruise.
Is it true that you saved the movie business? Steven Spielberg said you did.
It's a beautiful thing for society that we share these common environment for us all to experience. So I love this art form.
You don't have to like Tom Cruise, but you can't look away. Because whatever Tom Cruise is, there's only one.
We're watching Tom Cruise stand on the roof of the BFI IMAX.
What did you mean when you said once that you like to live life in the red zone?
Your mission. Your mission. Your mission.
Your mission.
Your mission.
Your mission. I don't know. For me, in a lot of ways,
I accept.
it's all or nothing.
Like the fuse.
I don't know how you do it.
I just go. I just go.
Hunt is uniquely trained and highly motivated.
He is not to be underestimated.
He's considered to be one of the finest pilots this program has ever produced.
I work my tail off on every single thing I do. And what I don't appreciate is people not understanding what it takes.
A specialist without equal.
A master of infiltration, deception, sabotage, and psych warfare.
Immune to any countermeasures. His exploits are legendary.
You get that nauseous thing that happens?
There is no secret he cannot extract, no security he cannot breach, no person he cannot become.
Where you feel like you're so tired you're gonna puke.
For all intents and purposes.
What he has to teach you may very well mean the difference between life and death.
But you have no choice, you just have to keep going.
A mind-reading, shape-shifting incarnation of chaos.
I give you Captain Pete Mitchell. Call sign, Maverick.
And then I just go.
Our lives are the sum of our choices.
It really is you. I've heard stories. They can't all be true.
The pit. The pit.
And we cannot escape the past.
But it have to be the lies that are printed and stuff like that has to be the worst part.
There is one reason.
Yeah, so I think Tom Cruise has really shown himself to be a movie star who loves the movies. And now his thing is like he'll put his stamp of approval on a film and go encourage you to see it, like Sinners, for instance. And he talked recently about how he does not feel competitive. He doesn't like he's never wanted to treat his fellow actors as his competition, because this is what he literally said: when one movie wins, we all win. So he's in it for the love of, truly for the love of cinema. And it's I don't look at my fellow film stars and go, that's who my competition is. I look at them and I go, this is who is helping to keep this industry alive. When one movie wins, we all win. So like he'll go co-sign a film, go encourage people to see it. He's just always talking about movies. Like I remember one time he made a PSA telling people to turn motion smoothing, to turn off motion smoothing on their TVs because of how it changes the way that movies look. And it makes them look like they were shot on high-speed video rather than being shot on film. So that's the type of shit that he does. Like, his message, and that is ultimately, I think, what has triumphed over everything else. His message is, I love movies, and I hope you do too. Let's love and appreciate movies together, and here's the best way to do that. Like, truly somebody who is in this business, and he recently said he's going to keep making movies till he's 100 because he loves the movies. He loves cinema.